The story comes out this week from the Washington Post. There are 147 FBI agents assigned to the Hillary Clinton email investigation, which made everyone think, whoa, that's a major investigation. Turns out that's not true. There are 12 agents working full-time on the case, according to a source with direct knowledge of the investigation, who told that to MSNBC's Ari Melber. According to a former FBI official, also speaking honestly, 147 was such a ridiculous number, said the source, adding that 50 also sounded unrealistic for this kind of inquiry. You need an act of terrorism to get 50 agents working on something, said the former FBI official. How did the Washington Post get it so wrong? Look at the Washington Post's original source, according to a lawmaker briefed by FBI Director James B. Comey. It is a safe bet the lawmaker was a Republican in Congress who leaked this, knowing full well it would look terrible for Hillary Clinton. And this has now become a pattern. An unnamed source on Capitol Hill leaks an item that appears very incriminating for Hillary Clinton, and it turns out there's a lot less to it. Joining me now, Eric Boehlert, Senior Fellow at Media Matters. The number was so preposterous and head-scratching, I'm amazed at the currency it got.
I'm amazed it got into print. It doesn't make any sense. You'd have to go back and check that. But as you pointed out, every news organization in America ran with that number. Look, this number was originally floated by Fox News back in January. So for the Washington Post newsroom, that should have been the first red flag. You know, back in January, Fox was pushing this. There's this massive, not only an email investigation, a Clinton corruption, Clinton Foundation. This is going to go on for years. That was the story Fox was telling. No one else could ever confirm it. It was only an investigation that Fox could somehow figure out. So that should have been a red flag. And if a story's too good, you know, check it. If a number's too good, well, it doesn't make any sense. But this is the Clinton rules, right? You kind of throw everything out. And if it turns out to be wrong, nobody pays a price.
Well, and the sourcing to me is so key because this has been a key part.
Absolutely.
The key part of this, I want to go back to May 2013. We were on air. We've been on air for about a month. Big new, piece on ABC, exclusive yes. Benghazi talking points underwent 12 revisions, scrubbed of terror reference. And again, this was coming from pretty clearly Republican member of Congress. Then the original full email chain showed the source was completely wrong about it. And again, it was the same thing. It was a full day story, 3-day story, 4-day story, and then finally the actual email chain came out and it was totally divided.
We see this over and over again. You know, Republican staffers just feeding this stuff.
Whether it's a member of Congress. I mean,
yes.
The citation here is lawmaker.
That's right. That's a good point. So we saw the pattern with Benghazi. We've seen it with emails. If you want to get nostalgic, go back to Whitewater. Go back to Travelgate. Go back to the Clinton pardons. This is over and over again. We create these investigations. Republicans are briefed on them, and then they spin these fantastic tales to the press who types it up because they think it's a great story.
Well, if it were true, it's a story. I mean, if it were true, if 100...
But every time when we go through it, these facts don't hold up. And then the Washington Post, well, they're not going to make any change in their anonymous sourcing policy, according to Media Matters and according to the Washington Post. So we're just going to keep doing this. New York Times last summer, Hillary's the target of a criminal investigation for the Clinton
famously.
Well,
and then criminals walk by and then revised in the story.
But once you put that in the pipeline, once you put that out there, wait, Hillary's going to be indicted? You can't walk that back. 150 agents, you can't really effectively walk that back. And I haven't seen many news organizations try to walk it back in the last 48 hours.
Well, and the other part about this is when you talk to Republican voters at campaign events, when we've been on the trail and caucus rooms, a very high percentage think it's essentially a foregone conclusion.
She'll be indicted.
Absolutely. Before the election. Like that is a probable event that you probably won't even be. And that's been because in that world, not just in mainstream media, particularly in the conservative media, this is just an imminent thing.
Yes, the orange jumpsuit, it's imminent. Just like Benghazi, there was going to be impeachment hearings. All of it's imminent. Once you get inside that silo, that echo chamber, why would you believe in everything else? The problem is when we start having the Washington Post sort of nibbling on the edges and things like that. Look, in terms of the emails, Doyle McManus had a piece in the LA Times. Associated Press rounded up some experts. American Prospect had a University of Michigan law professor. All of them going into detail. Legally, there's no there, right? No one's going to be indicted, according to all these experts.
Right.
So that should be the starting point, not the opposite of when is she going to be indicted and how is this going to trip up her
campaign. Right, and there's also there's a huge gulf between should she have done this, was this the right idea, is is there reason to critique her or question her judgment of the people around her?
Right,
and
sure.
is there a criminal
Is she going to
investigation
jail?
larger than the Oklahoma City bombing happening? There's a pretty wide gulf.
There's a pretty wide gulf. And here's one of the other very interesting things about the Clintons is the criminalization, right? It goes back to the 90s, and now it's this need to try to criminalize Bill and Hillary.
Ted Cruz, sort of waxing poetic about her like tossing and turning on a jail cell the other day at a campaign event. Eric Buller, thank you very much. Coming up.